Michael, and this is Resident of College for YouTube. 58 years ago, this day, Dark Shadows debuted. And I always talk DS and tell you about the beginning and stuff, usually on the anniversary. I've talked about it so much. Tonight, I'm going to do something a little different and a little fun. A young man is getting ready to watch his favorite television show. His popcorn is already popped. It's in a bowl. It's in a small white round bowl. He has a can of Coca-Cola. He carries it into his living room. He sets it down. He picks up his remote and turns on his television. He decides to watch a streaming service. On that streaming service is his favorite show. He even has it saved. It's called Dark Shadows. As it begins to rain outside, and thunder and lightning, he decides to chance it, and he hits the OK button to turn it on. To turn his favorite program he's watched so much, because he can't get enough. Little does he know that on this day, he won't just watch that. He'll be part of it. The creepy music comes on. We hear the sound of a train horn. We see its lights. The train is barreling toward us. It goes past as we see a young girl sitting inside the train. She tells us her name is Victoria Winters. Tells him this too. He's heard it so many times. He smiles as he sets down his Coke and his popcorn. Thunder rolls, the lightning cracks. The remote in his hand from turning up the volume. It hits him and the television. Suddenly the young man is gone. But where? Where has he gone? Where am I? Where am I? You're in a taxi, you idiot. You're on your way to Collinsport. Don't you remember hailing me in Boston? No. What do you mean, no? Are you on something? No, sir. I'm not on anything. What are you nervous about? You already paid. You already prepaid for the fare. It isn't going to be that much. Who the hell wants to work at a small fishing town called Collinsport anyway? Let me tell you, I had people live there years ago. And nothing happens in that town. So what? They got a big cannery. Family owns that town. Spooky old ass house. You really want to go there? Work? The young man looks down. He notices he has a briefcase and a separate bag. He peeks inside the separate bag, which is sort of half open. He opens it inside to see camera, piece of paper, and a pencil. The young man also looks down to see a card inside the bag. He picks up the card and reads it. Sorry. Lawrence. Lawrence MacArthur. Journalist, photographer. The young man knows this is not his real name. His real name was Jacob Sanderson. So how did he come upon these things? The young man inquires to the taxi driver some more. You said we're headed to Collinsport? You said that's not real. What do you mean it's not real? Buddy, we're almost 5 minutes from your destination. Hell, we're inside the city limits. You want dropped off at the hotel or not? Suddenly the car comes to a halt when the brakes screech. The young man looks. When the car stops, the young man looks outside. He sees the sign of the Collinsport Inn from inside the taxi cab. Alright, buddy, out you go. I don't need any more weirdness for tonight. Sorry. The young man makes sure to get his things before he exits the cab. He's almost hesitant to do so, for he fears he may never return home if he does exit the cab. He has no other option but to exit it. Lawrence, as he is called here, exits the cab with his things in hand. He closes the cab and it speeds on by. He watches it turn around and head back toward Boston, a place he had honestly never been, considering he is not from Boston. For he is from Morgantown, West Virginia. The young man sees the hotel. He can't believe it. He looks around. He sees another man lingering in the darkness. He sort of half recognizes him in the distance. He walks toward him. Hey, I know you, don't I? Tall man with the shaggyish looking hair. I don't know you. You don't know me. How do you know me? How would you know me? I'm sorry, but you are Sam Evans, aren't you? Man is shocked. Yes, I'm Sam Evans, but I don't know. I'm at a loss. You know my name, I don't know yours. I'm the new reporter for Collinsport Star. The young man then stopped. He didn't even know where those words had come from. They just came out of his mouth for whatever reason. It's almost as somebody had put him there. A writer, perhaps. A writer of a television show. The man then looked around to see the cameras, to see the stage. Hell, to see the director herself of the episode, which was Lila Swift. He knew it well. He knew it all too well. He wanted it to be fake. He thought the director might yell cut if he, for he was never a character in the show anyway. He was waiting for those words, but they never did come. Hey, Why isn't she stopping this? The man says, Who? Who are you talking about? The director of this episode. Her name's Lila Swift. I'm not a character in this story. Character? You mean like in a play? Or a show? Sam Evans said to him. Yeah. Sam laughed at him. Are you okay? You sure you don't need some help? No, I'm fine. This is a television show. What's a television show? This. Oh, this. None of this is real. Kid, look at my hand. I'm leaning against the wall here. Does it look like it's gonna collapse over because it's some damn set? No. Man felt the wall. It didn't move. Hell, even the pavement beneath him felt real. Because it was. You know what? Thank you, Mr. Evans. I think I'm just going to go to work. Go report to the office. You have a good night. Oh, don't you want to... all right. Sure you don't want to go to the Blue Whale and get a drink? I'm sure. I'm sure. And as Lawrence walked with Collins Sports Star, he walked less than a block to find it. But he remembered that Collinsport was a small town, and indeed it was showing that it was a small town. He saw a small two-story building, a glass window at the bottom on the first floor. On that glass it read Collinsport Star, second floor. He thought it odd that was on the first floor, considering the newspaper office was on the second. But he realized why it did. He saw a printing press inside. That must be where they printed their newspapers, obviously, he thought to himself. As Lawrence reached for the door, he stopped himself. Wait a second. He thought about it. This is the night. This is the night Victoria Winters arrives in Burke Devlin. Sam Evans is standing there. He doesn't even know what's going to happen. If he were right, then maybe he could still prove this was a television show. But why wasn't anything happening? Why wasn't a director yelling cut? Why wasn't anybody yelling at him specifically? Nobody was giving him any kind of direction. He just seemed to be in a little world of his own. Instead of going into the office, the man changed his mind. He crossed the street and snuck back toward the hotel. He saw an alley and ducked into it, and he waited. He pulled out his little camera and waited. He don't know what possessed him to even go back other than what he knew was about to happen. He knew that the train was coming and would soon stop outside of Collinsport at the Collinsport train station. He would soon, Burke Devlin would offer Victoria Winters a ride and bring her to the town of Collinsport. The man couldn't help but stand there in the darkness and wait to take their picture. He would not have to wait long. We saw lights coming toward the Collinsport end. Sam Evans ducked in an alley of his own. Nobody really seen him. In Sam's mind, it wasn't hard to not be seen. for he'd become almost the town drunk, something he wasn't 10 years ago, and Lawrence knew all about it. Lawrence knew because he was an avid watcher. He had watched the show so many times he could recite the lines. But then there was tonight. Things seemed different. It didn't seem like a show anymore. It all seemed real to him. For he was no longer watching it. He was now a part of this. As Lawrence saw the car pull up, he saw two people get up. He had no doubt in his mind who they were, for they were Bert Devlin and Victoria Winters. He took the picture. He saw them go into the inn. He couldn't believe it. It was just like in the show. It was exactly how it happened. Only he was seeing it from being inside the show itself. He wondered what to do. He thought about wanting to go home, but he didn't know how to go back. He didn't know of anybody who could actually help him at this moment. But then he thought of one such character who might be able to help him. Barnabas. In his mind, that name echoed now in his mind. But then he thought about it. Wait a second. I can't do that. I can't. He could kill me, and he'd have no reason to let me live. Oh, wait, he did let Willie live, but Willie was of use to him. What use would I be to him other than a meal? I mean, sure, it's a 50-50 shot, but I think I'd rather not take it. Who could he talk to? Who could he tell what just happened to him? He had wondered this as he stood there. This time he decided to walk, but not across the street to greet Victoria Winters. Oh no. He decided to go to the Blue Whale, for he knew Bert Devlin would be there later with Wilbur Strake, and so too would Carolyn be there. He wondered if the fight would happen as he saw it on television. Only this time he would be an eyewitness not through a television screen, but through watching it itself. Lawrence made it to the Blue Whale. His suitcase, his bag, his camera that he had put back in the bag. He went in. He saw how dead it was. He also saw Wilbur Strake there. He looked right at Wilbur Strake, and Wilbur Strake glanced at him and he raised an eyebrow. Lawrence turned away and he walked toward a table, sitting down. He did not want to garner too much attention from the wrong people. And he was certain that Wilbur Strake was the wrong kind of person to draw attention from. He sat there, all alone, at a table, as the Bob the bartender. What we have? Bob's words startled him. He looked. You're Bob. You're Bob. Yeah, I'm Bob. Who are you? Uh, Lawrence. I'm a reporter. Oh, yeah? Never seen you around here, kid. And I just moved here. Yeah? Want a beer? Lawrence thought about it. He knew in his world he was well past 30. He wasn't sure how old this character he was. Was he the same age as he? Was he 33? He didn't know. He looked at the young man. He looked at the bartender and said, I'll just have a soda if that's okay with you. That's fine by me. Have whatever you like. Bartender. Let me got soda. Orange shook his head. I'm in over my head. This is madness. What is going on? This isn't real. None of it is real. It can't be real. Slowly, the man took his left arm up his right arm that was sitting on the table. He gave it a walk. He squeezed his two fingers together on the skin, pinching it as hard as he could stand, hoping he would just wake up from the dream he was having. That's what he thought it must be, a dream. None of this can be real. Collinsport isn't a real town. He kept saying that to himself. The pinch did nothing but cause him pain. He pulled his fingers away and realized this was now no dream. He felt he was he was now somewhere he shouldn't have been. And sat there in the bar. He didn't know how long he was going to have to wait for things to happen. He knew not too long. He knew soon words would reach Burke, Mr. Wells. Mr. Wells would hand him a note, and then Burke would leave for the well. So the man sat there. Lawrence sat there. He had often thought about going back to the hotel and maybe talking to Victoria or Maggie. Maybe they would help him, but how? Victoria would not time travel for some time, considering the episode count, and considering how the show started off. Barnabas isn't technically created yet. Would the mausoleum even be there? He thought to himself. All this entered Lawrence's mind, and all this made his head spin and hurt. As Bob set a can of soda with a glass of ice beside him. You can pour it yourself. You're acting kind of funny, buddy. That'll be 50 cents, by the way. Yeah. Suddenly the man, Lawrence, pulled out a wallet and he handed Bob the bartender money. He didn't even know how he got it. This is all weird. This is damn sure strange. He hands Bob $1. Bob gives him his change, and then he puts his wallet away. Lawrence put his wallet away. He sat there and opened his soda and poured it into the glass that Bob had given him. He thought for a second. Wait a second. That is different. Is it the bartender Paunchy? Yeah, he was the bartender of the first couple episodes. Or at least a while. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Did I change something? Lawrence couldn't help but think maybe perhaps he did. Was Victoria Winters now really here to work for the Collins family? Did him now being in a world he knew he didn't belong in change things? He had wondered, would Burke even show up here? Even though Restrict was here. Restrict was here for another reason. Thoughts like this entered Prince's mind, for he thought, did he cause a time some sort of effect on the show itself? But how could he? Thought the show's fiction, though he has not seen a camera crew, a director, or boom mic. He had wondered what was going on. After a while, Burke did show up, so that had not changed. This gave Lawrence a bit of a happy feeling. Though he knew what was about to happen later in the bar, he realized that part had not changed. And later, the other event did. Let's witness the fight between Joe and the men, and Burke breaking it up, and Carolyn herself being at the bar. The young man decided to leave soon after the fight. He thought about what he should do. He thought about the one place he could go, so he started up that way. He walked up the road. It was called Widow's Hill Road, which led to the. But instead of going all the way up the hill, there was a turnoff that he took that led to what they called a cemetery. He walked toward it. He wasn't even sure what was going to be there, but the mausoleum. After a long while, Lawrence did indeed get there, and it was there, the very mausoleum that held the secret door, the door that behind that door was the chained coffin of Barnabas Collins. He thought about it. What could he do? What could he say? Would Barnabas help him? He knew that in any case, he was doomed, for he had no idea what to do. He knew that this was some sort of cruel hoax or mistake. He heard a woman's voice. Go on, open it. He recognized the laugh. Angelique, go on. Go to him. Ask him for help. See what happens. It is time Barnabas be left out of his coffin, open, awakened from his long slumber, don't you think? I certainly do. Though Angelique did not call him Lawrence, she called him by his real name. This frightened the boy so, as lightning and thunder cracked through the sky. No, this isn't real. This is just a television show. It isn't real. It isn't real. Suddenly he felt somebody shake him. Huh? Hey, it was his girlfriend, Melissa. Hey, you fell asleep. Are you okay? Wow, how many episodes did you make it through? You're on, what, 100? Where did you fall asleep at? Uh, this is real, right? He asked her. Her hand touches his face. Of course this is real. What's wrong with you? Are you okay? I hope you guys enjoyed the little short story there. Um, Dark Shadows is a world of wonder in every way. I mean that. I think, look, as somebody who watched this on the Sci-Fi Channel, I just love this so much. And it's so nice to be able to come on here and talk about it with you guys and talk and get your thoughts and opinions. Again, I've always said this, anybody is welcome on this channel. I have an open door policy. It is a fun television show. Guys, first of all, happy anniversary, Dark Shadows. I know it's midnight now, so it's technically the 28th. Thank you to, people like Art Wallace, Leela Swift, Dan Curtis, the actresses, Joan Bennett, Alexander Moltiazos, Nancy Barrett, Mitchell Bryan, Kathleen Lee Scott, Laura Parker, Jonathan Frid. I know they're passed on. Some of those people are passed on, but I want a lot of the cast. I mean, every cast member. Thank you. This show is something I still watch to this day. It is a lot of fun. All right, guys, you have a good night and take care.